What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 64 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Kroq-Gar campaign. So as we saw last time, our poor little skinks, or some of our poor little skinks, got sacrificed on the altar of warp fire, or doom rocket nukes, or whatever we're calling them these days. Either way, the one of our units got turned into a bunch of irradiated husks because, well, they couldn't escape it with their relatively fragile natures. Oh, well, I guess you can call it the Skaven going out with a bang, as the faction has been pretty much destroyed, and we should be able to take them out within the next episode or two, which is very important right now. Our turn number is 108, so we will have the endgame scenario coming soon. We need to complete what we're doing in Bretonnia and withdraw our armies back to our own lands for the endgame scenario. Gotta remember that it's going to take time to get to where the endgame scenario spawns are going to happen, so we need to be aware of that, and we'll need to be able to deal with it. Alrighty, so in terms of what we've got to do right now, well, there are several armies that are about to attack things. We're going to start with that. First of all, Chameleon. Wait. If we put Tic-Tac-Toe in regular stance, he is able to attack the Orcs, so we might be able to destroy them for good, and I think sack, ideally, the Massive Orcal. We need a lot of cash right now. We have materials at sea, and we absolutely need to make good use of it before the endgame scenario arrives. Kowal, you're going to head out to, let's say, this mysterious island, the other Kowal, I mean, whereas you, Kowal, well, you can't move this turn, but I think you'll maybe get a few islands, or maybe you should go after this little army as well, as it probably also will need to be destroyed. Anyway, those who escaped, please press gang. Relatively useless, unfortunately. I was actually just hoping for 1,500 money or whatever, but alas, we didn't get it this time. And just to double check, are there any more mysterious islands nearby that we can grab that won't involve... Oh, there's one down here. There's a Sea Corpse. I don't know whether which one of these has fights or not. How far away is this? Only a few turns. Alright, go down there. Maybe grab that mysterious island as well. Varenigor, you are going to Kowal. Alrighty, next up, assuming that Tic-Tac-Toe can fight these guys, that means Chameleon can freely auto-resolve Aquitaine. Especially since there's no nuke, and Huan Chi's Blessed Totem, we don't need one in this army, but it's nice to have. We're gonna loot and occupy? I mean, we are trading this to allies. Oh, wait, no, this is Bordelot. We might actually keep this? I'll think about it. Either way, occupy it for now. And I'll probably transfer that totem somewhere else. Ooh, looks like our Skink Priest has a Pterodon now. Yeah, that's definitely going to be useful for repositioning. Tic-Tac-Toe, you're probably going to get a fight this episode, but we shall see, and depending on what other things we have to take care of. Also, since we really need the cash right now, I think it's time for military alliances. I'm just going to hope that these guys, considering the number of wars they're in, are not going to just straight up attack Averland, because let's do military alliances now. I really, really hope they don't. But it's a lot of cash, and, well, we want as much cash as we can take. Talzin, let's do you as well. Alright, that's another 5k, very nice. Materials at sea after all. Avalorn, you're in the same position. And Eataine, I saw you're willing as well. Alright, nice. Anybody else? Exiles of Nehek. You're still fighting... Wait. No, you're friends with the Wood Elves. You are friends with the Ancestral Throng. We don't even have a defensive alliance with you, eh? You know what, let's start with a defensive alliance with you. How much money would you give us for those? Not that much. But it's still something, and I guess you'll find the Ancestral Throng for us, which might allow another alliance, eh? Yeah, why not? Plus, we can have access to some Tomb King units, though I'm not entirely sure which ones would be good with our current roster. Let's see, Kurun, 6.7 on a defensive alliance, and 2.9 on the other type. How much is this in terms of money? 2.3k. It's not much, but it's... probably worth our time as well. Defensive alliance it is. Alrighty, more allies, more everything. You gotta prepare for that endgame. And you know what? Border princes, we're just gonna leave you alone. How much money would you give us for a non-aggression pact? Oh, you're poor. Right, I forgot about that. Maybe we'll leave this until maybe you grow a little bit richer and are more worth our time. Ancestral Throng, Grimbrindle may die, but until he does, let's get a trade agreement going with him. a little bit more cash while we have materials at sea, after all. Hopefully that didn't piss anybody off. And now I believe that's it, at least for the diplomacy, or at least the money that we're acquiring through diplomacy at the current time. We're up to nearly 60k, which is not too bad, but more money. First of all, pig barter. You are gonna go to Karazakarak. How much would they give us for this? 8.5k? Very respectable, we'll take it. Alrighty, now, is there anything else we can trade in terms of territory we don't need? Obviously, we didn't need pig barter. We have Qian given to you. Shen Wu. I mean, if Kroq-Gar is going to leave this place anyway, and that he is, to Shangyang, which we can sack for 14k. Yes, please. You're gonna go up here and we're gonna trade Shen Wu. I wonder if Village would attack us if we... Let me think about this. Well... Oh, really? You're gonna kill off the bastard? We're gonna have to fight this manually. Annoying, but okay. And we'll do that in a second. I want to sack the place, that's for darn sure. How much would you give us for Shenmue? Now, normally I wouldn't want to take money away from these guys because they're in bad shape, but I think at this point we'll just do the fighting for them like we did for Thorek in the early game and take as much money as they're willing to give us, up to 75k. But, you know, our buildings are so expensive, it's gonna go away pretty quickly. We'll do this fight in a few. I wonder if you will be able to actually reach it afterwards. Oh, we also have rights available. Hello. Right of ferocity, plus 40% research rate, although I fear that this won't do anything for us right now. And we are at 837. I'm 99% sure you need over 1,000 research rate percentage in order for anything to be at 1 turn. So that's kind of pointless. What are we doing right now, incidentally? Sequence of the city? Oh, right, because, yeah, we're trying to reduce the cost further while we are in, materials at sea. Just gotta remember not to do any main building upgrades. Alright, well, Kroq-Gar, you're gonna do your thing in a bit. Let's see who else needs to do their thing. Kanos Kier, is there anybody at Sabaton? Let's find out. Hopefully not. And there is not, which means you can auto-resolve it, and that's another settlement, and we are going to occupy. What are we at in terms of alliance? Okay, gonna have to use some of those shortly. Sabaton, you can get rid of the underground lagoon, I think, for now. Alright, and Bramak, who are you again? You are a leader of his kind, which means you're going to Tlashbok, yes? Yes, and then who is the other one? That's Bramak, who are you? Knowledgeable Skink Priest of Heaven's also going to Tlashbok, okay, yeah. I just wanted to try to remember who these guys were. What do we have at the Mine of the Bearded Skulls? Something of a garrison. Is it worth fighting, though? Hard to say. You're gonna go here. Can we auto-resolve this? Oh, wow. We cannot auto-resolve this at all. Really? Even with Pragiol nearby? Pragiol, please move up. How about now? Yeah, now we can auto-resolve it. I mean, I think we have a much more difficult fight than this. Let's face it, they don't have a stack here, there's no real point. We've already broken the factions, so I'm just gonna go ahead and auto-resolve this one. Oh wow, these guys came very close to dying, but that's fine. And we're gonna occupy the place as well. And very, very nice. Pragiol got himself an item he does not need because he's a Temp Lord, and what did you have there? Okay, well, whatever you had, you don't have it now. And then this, Xhotl, what do we have here? Oh, the garrison ain't too bad. This might actually be worth Gorok actually fighting. Also, you steal some tech. Hey, a tech thief that actually succeeded at something. I'm as shocked as you guys. Let's have you move into Xhotl, and I think we'll probably fight this one cinematically, yes? Yeah, that looks a lot more worth fighting than the other things do. I do want to see what other moves we can make, though. Also, Kylok, while you can certainly help, and frankly, you probably should have... Oh, right, we gotta move that Skink Chief out of there. He's not needed anymore. Also, what did you have, incidentally? Perceptive. Completely useless. Yeah, he was just there to help with the regeneration. I want you, Kylok, to move to Chakwa, because it can't really defend itself. But with your little, well, army, such as it is, you should be able to. Too bad we can't ambush this little army, but it's okay. And with that army, they won't be able to take it out. Assassin, can you do anything to these guys? Assault those units. If you succeed a couple of times, they'll be done for. And does this faction, does Pestilence have any territory remaining? No. This is their last army. Odd that they're not suffering attrition. I feel like stances shouldn't essentially stop you from suffering the you have no territory remaining type of attrition, but whatever. Anyway, to Hanuman, move into the Chamber of Visions, please. Alright, taking all the territory this episode. Suddenly, when we have materials at sea and need money, we gotta make a lot of gains. And you gotta be kidding me, the Chameleon Stalkers will die to this? Really? Alright, well, Tehenuman might have another battle. Setting up a ton of battles between this episode and next one, I guess. Who else needs to move? If we're setting stuff up, we might as well set it all up. Is Soko Rismate? Yes, you are moving over here because you need to head off Kairos in case he lands. It looks like, unfortunately, he's going to go for the Caverns of Sotek, which probably won't be able to defend themselves. We'll try to build defenses here, but it's unlikely that they'll survive. Maybe Teclis will keep chasing him. You know what? I know that we don't have a lot of allegiance, but I think we're gonna tell him specifically to hunt Kairos down. I don't know whether this will work, and I'd love to keep the allegiance, but it's pretty important that we do this right now. Then, oh right, Fregnus here. Aralakin, I know that there's a Skaven Plague there, but regardless, I think you're gonna move into the city, even if you get the Skaven Plague. And like so, let's just hope that he doesn't acquire it, but if he does, he does. At least that way the settlement won't die. Then, you... Yarrick the Templord. You are going to use some more alignment. So we have 4 with the Warpaint of Talantula, and then we want... Oh, I probably should have done that slightly differently, but oh well. And then we'll get 4 with the Warpaint of Xhotl as well. 4 to defend and 4 to attack. And yeah, I know it sounds weird. Feral Cold Ones defend, but we're going to use them in combination with some Chameleon Stalkers. Yeah. That's the way to do it. I'm also now wondering whether we should send this army down south to Kairos, but no, Kroq needs help. There's just so much here to deal with. Yeah. Alrighty, and also, what did you have again? You're confident, eh? I think it's time then to move you as far as you can go, which is reasonably far. And then replace you. Yeah, alright, you're going here. Go, 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 Yarrick. Alrighty, and then for now, at the least, we are going to make you go away, so you are... Huh? Oh. Replace with the Slan Mage of Life, who should be up and running now, yes? Yes, there he is. 4th gen Slan Mage Priest of Life. Lovely. And then you're obviously going to be here because of the dinos, and when right before combat, we're going to get him the Geltblom's Terror, the Shredder of Lustria, and the Blessed Carnosaur here, and probably replace at least a couple of things with a couple of Saurus heroes, but, you know, we'll actually need to get them first. Can we get them from here? Oh, we can't get them from anywhere nearby, can we? Not even Nagashazar. Well, isn't that a shame? Man, what's the closest place we can actually build them? Misty Mountain? No, that's Skink Chiefs. Valeas... No, not Valeas Sorrow. Oh man, we might need to capture something. I have to wonder, even sacking Shangyang, maybe we'll take it with a with the capability of building one, though I'd like to double check whether we need to mill one right now as well, and indeed we do. Let's go for uncompromising, we'll take you out. Ugh, 2,000 of our precious gold used on this, but what can you do? Go away. Alright, next up, Farak, you are heading up north. I guess you can grab the Sea Corpse then. I don't remember whether this is a battle that we have to fight or not. But you're still gonna head up north, and any island is a free island. Is free money. No, we'll actually have to switch stances. Okay, you're gonna go here, you're gonna sit here, you're gonna switch stances, and you're gonna take it next turn, and then keep going to Mazda Mundi with Mazda Mundi's army. Then... I guess, Tic-Tac, it's time to go. I mean, yeah, we got other fights that are potential, but I think this one's going to be the biggest and most difficult one, as in, I fully expect we will run out of ammunition in this fight. Skink Chief, you should not be on an ancient... Oh wait, you're an ancient Stegodon, yeah, that's fine. In this one army. What do we get you? Is there anything that would be useful here? I guess I could get hero action success chance increase for everybody. Wouldn't be too bad. Ambush success and defense chance as well. Enemy leadership, enemy... Oh, it's characters, not the enemy army. I guess that would be obnoxious if it was the enemy army, though, to be fair. And then I guess we'll try to go for jungle toxins as well, so get piercing shots, though I don't expect this hero to be doing much. Do you already have poison? This doesn't really matter. You, spells. Many spells. Well, we do use Wind Blast a lot. We also do use Comet of... No, actually, this army doesn't really use Comet of Cast Endure. It uses Chain Lightning because it doesn't force enemies to blob up. We can do Experienced for the cooldown for spells, I think. 1, 2, 3, and then try to move towards Potent. That's probably the way to do it. Alrighty. And Tic Tac, you got a little bit of... Oh, wow, actually not so little. 4 points. Let's get 1 point in Mentor at the very least to spread some of your points around. Then we'll go Skirmisher. Not that you're getting any use out of it, but I do want you to get Rally, and then the most important one, which is Soulbound. Coatl, Ripperdactyls, and Pterodon Riders get 5 melee attack, 5 melee defense, and 15% missile resistance, which is absolutely huge since our aerial units have been having a little bit of trouble with the enemy range fire. Anyway, attack Azrael, get Wrencha. And yes, indeed, the enemy will sally out. That's a lot of stuff to contend with, though not a lot of it, to be fair, is in the form of anti-air. That said, we've definitely had several battles before where Tic-Tac-Toe's army simply ran out of ammunition, and I fully expect this to be one of them. So we'll have to deal with the enemy on the ground as well. Should be an interesting time. Here we go. Alrighty, here we go. You guys did say you were not tired of seeing Tic-Tac-Toe's army fight, so let's see it fight once more. He is, after all, the only one in range of the Massive Forecal, and thus he's going to be the one to take these guys down. Or at the very least, if we can manage to pull this particular battle off. Should be an interesting time. They do have 2 giants, and I want to say 2 or 3 Arachnaroks, starting with this one, plus, in terms of these larger units that are going to be hard to bring down, Grom the Paunch may as well count as one of them as well because of his massive HP pool and regeneration. We'll see if, well, how long it takes to run out of ammunition. And the first Arachnarok, however, is having a pretty bad time at the cost of about 15% of the ammunition on our 4 units of Pterodon Riders. Those javelins just taking their toll. I do wish that the Howdahs in this particular game were designed in such a way that the units on top of the Howdahs would slowly die as the unit takes more and more damage. I think that would be pretty cool in terms of the showing battle damage on particular units, or you could also show like damaged Howdahs, and for certain units like the Necrofex Colossus, they could be losing parts, and same with the constructs for the Tomb Kings. But anyway, once again, it's feature creep and it's unnecessary, but it would certainly look pretty darn great. Maybe in someday future version of the game or in a like game. Anyway, the enemy lord has been brought down. Tic-Tac-Toe and his 3 Coatl assassins doing what they do best and heading towards the enemy Black Orcs. This is, after all, a very elite army, and we're going to have to work on all these elite units. The Ripperdactyls are going to follow suit. Not that the Coatl and Tic-Tac really need their help to take on a single unit of Black Orcs, it's just to speed the matter up a teensy bit. I also believe our Pterodon Riders have finally brought down that Arachnarok, which we saw routing, and we got 10 seconds until the enemy gets its first reinforcements on the field. This was, after all, only a small army that was sitting outside of the settlement. The settlement itself, or its garrison and Grom stack, are about to approach. Alrighty, and they're moving on to the map, but right immediately under fire from our units of Fire Leech Bolas. There's way too many enemy units to work through like this, so the damage is going to be limited, and ooh, we got the enemy Spider Riders, I believe, firing at us with their explosive shots. And this might actually be fairly interesting. First of all, these are Force Goblin Spider Riders, okay. But firing Fire Leech bolas at them wouldn't be particularly effective, so we're going to try to get some Pterodon Riders over here to try to help out with that, obviously, because the Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech bolas are going to be busy with all of these units, and still more units moving onto the field. There's a lot here, a lot of reinforcements, and we saw those bombs drop with the first line, the first wave, and there were like 5 more after that, milling around the enemies, but they can't target us right now, so it doesn't really matter how much we mill around. And yes, I was correct, it is 3 Arachnaroks and 2 Giants, though I don't think the Giants have yet made it onto the field, as there... No, 4 Arachnaroks, wow, okay, 4 Arachnaroks, 2 Giants, gotta be at least 4 units of Trolls, tons of Black Orcs. Yeah, it's a pretty elite force, though how well they do against Tic Tac remains to be seen. Now, as we were leveling up, I did say that in this particular army, we use the Chain Lightning a lot more than we use the other spells. So here comes another Chain Lightning right in the middle of the enemies, though it does look like it might have clipped one of our... well, clipped some wings here, one of our Pterodon Riders. But it's okay, it's looking like it's doing a very solid amount of damage, and before the Comet of Cassandora drops, I was waiting for the enemies to try to move away from the Chain Lightning. I just want to see how much damage our little Skink Priest has done here with that single spell. He's got 241 kills and 51k damage with 1 Vortex, very respectable. More big boys moving onto the field, however, as a Giant, or the Ragnarok and 2 Giants have now arrived, and the Comet of Cassandora has dropped in the middle of the enemy infantry formation, though I don't imagine it's doing a crazy amount to the enemy Black Orcs or Trolls or Boar Boys or anything like that. Still, we do still have ammunition, and a fair bit of it, in fact, at least on the Fire Leech bolas, so they've got a lot of infantry to break through, but they've got plenty of ammunition to continue doing so. Otherwise, the enemy can't do much, though the Coatl Assassins are trying to fly around looking for a particular target to strike, and we're going to be keeping back the Ripperdactyl Riders for now, waiting until enemies essentially break. The Pterodon, or no, not Pterodon Riders. The Pterodon Riders are good at dishing out the damage, whereas the Ripperdactyls are better off at chasing units, so we'll send them to do so while the Pterodons continue dishing it out. Oh, air superiority. It certainly works quite well. At least against factions that have limited abilities to deal with it, though we saw Tic Tac deal with factions that have very good anti-air as well, so yeah, as long as we can take them out early, the enemy armies can't do anything. It's one of the strengths of these Air Force armies, that the enemy will never bring an army that's all anti-air, with the possible exception of Vampire Coast armies, but yeah, generally speaking, if your army is all air, it most of the time only has to deal with maybe half, maybe a third, maybe even less of the enemy army, as those are the only units that can actually threaten aerial units. At the very least, once again, until we run out of ammunition. Anyway, the Pterodon Riders with Fire Leech bolas continuing to focus down those Arachnaroks, or rather the Javelin ones are focusing down the Arachnaroks, where the Fire Leech bolas are hitting all those infantry. We can see all the infantry are getting very badly damaged. We got 5 or 6 of them broken here. Tic Tac and the Coatl units are also chasing off any unit that is essentially isolated by itself and has no support, and the balance of power is now at this point about even. That said, the enemy's lost about 2.5k troops, and we've not lost a single one as yet, though that's hardly surprising as we haven't dropped out of the sky yet. Did we get an increase in ammunition at some point? I don't remember whether it was by tech or something, because it feels like we've got a little bit more, or maybe we just do more damage, and thus less ammunition goes a longer way. That could very well be the case as well. I don't remember, does Veterancy add ammunition? I know that it increases your offensive and defensive stats, but I don't know whether ammunition is impacted at all. I'm just trying to remember. I feel like the artillery pieces, the ones that have very little ammunition, still feel like they have very little ammunition when they level up, so I'm not sure. Anyway, another Arachnarok goes down, and now it kind of blends in with the Ripperdactyls. Too bad we can't get some greenskin allies, get some Arachnaroks in there to to be in an army with the Ripperdactyls. Yes, solely because of the color scheme. Hey, you gotta color coordinate, people. Makes for better armies. Alrighty, and unfortunately the Ripperdactyls get charged by another Ragnarok. The Giants coming in, and we are going to book it on out of there, trying to distract them a little bit with another unit, and then get that unit out of there as well. It looks like one of the Ripperdactyls has dropped, though that's hardly surprising, as they are fairly fragile, and once again, we're mostly using them to chase stuff down, rather than to do any direct fighting. Over on this side, Tic-Tac-Toe and his Coatl have dropped down upon 2 units of Boar Boys, and are absolutely ripping them apart. But once again, we do have to remember that Tic-Tac himself is extremely fragile as a lord and dies very quickly, but with 3 Coatl surrounding him, I don't imagine that that they will be able to bring him down that easily. I think most of the time that Tic-Tac has gotten close to death has been when he was by himself without the Coatl, so... And just gotta make sure not to have them leave him. Otherwise, it looks like our ammunition is pretty much down. In fact, several units are at a sliver of ammunition left, if not completely out of it. Yet, one of the Pterodon Riders is just chasing units now, and doing the same job that the Ripperdactyls are. That said, it looks like all the Arachnaroks, I think this might be the last one, have been taken out, so that is certainly a good use of all of our javelin ammunition. The rest of our forces, as oh damn it, I mean to speed that up, my bad. The rest of our forces, as we can see, have separated. Lots of our Ripperdactyl riders just hunting enemies down as they run, as I was describing. Tic-Tac and the Coatl have also caught another unit of chariots out here who have been pretty much decimated. That's a terrible matchup. Chariots versus Coatl. That was obviously always going to be ugly. Alrighty, and they're just going to give chase to them, hopefully before they can make it off-screen. Our Fireleech Bolas have also run out of infantry to kill, so at this point they're just trying to target the enemy trolls or whatever. And ooh, and the enemy have, by the looks of it, detected our Skink Chief, who is actually firing back at them across this little swampy area. Interesting. He actually gets to contribute to the fight a little bit. And all the giants and all those trolls are heading towards him, but will they survive, or will the enemy not route long enough to reach our hero? By the looks of it, they will not. Both giants, another Black Orc Big Boss, and Grom the Paunch himself have decided that this is no longer possible. Kind of interesting, though, because they decided it when we had like 5-10% ammunition left at this point, so if they had waited just that little bit longer, we would have had to deal with the rest of the enemy via melee rather than solely via range, which would have been possibly a little bit more interesting. That said, by the looks of it, trolls go down very quickly to Coatl, and just judging by how quickly the Giants' HP are dropping under the ministrations of the Coatl, I think that the Coatl would have brought down the Giants quite quickly as well. In fact, just to compare the stats here, the Giants have 20 less melee defense and equivalent melee attack, 20 less armor, obviously, wow, minus 130 speed, hardly surprising, but damn. And, oh wow, Giants actually hit less hard than Coatl as well. That one surprises me, actually. I would have thought that the Giants and their big old club would do more damage, but apparently not. Coatl hit harder, also 666. Yeah, well done. Well done to the Air Force yet again. This army has been extremely effective. I think it might be one of, if not the most effective of the Air Force armies that I've had across various campaigns. I definitely have had ones that were stronger, like in my Vlad and Isabella campaign, like in theory, as in if the two were to clash, the Vampire one would absolutely obliterate this one. But in terms of just effectiveness on the campaign map, this one has done so much, so I gotta give it to this one. Plus, obviously, honorable mention for the Fireleech Bolas, especially in the early game, being in every army and ripping everything apart, even in small numbers. Anyway, a heroic victory for Tic-Tac-Toe yet again. He's got a lot of these under his belt, and I imagine he'll get a few more before he has to return to our territory. Well done, little guy. Alrighty, well, that was a most definite ouch for the poor orcs. I honestly thought that would be more difficult. Is it me, or did Tic-Tac-Toe's army actually become stronger somehow? Because we definitely had battles earlier on when they ran out of ammunition. It's not like we got any research for any of the flyers, though they did get veterancy in that time, I suppose. It shouldn't be making that huge of a difference. Damn, 64k damage. The Fire Leech Bolas are always cleaning house. Honestly, I've been relatively disappointed with the Ripperdactyls. There doesn't seem to be all of that much use to them. The problem with them is that they're extremely fragile, and while they're better at chasing down units than the Pterodon Riders are, at the very least in melee, it feels like we're just much better off putting more Pterodon Riders of any type and more Coatl in this army than rather even bothering with Ripperdactyls, because they touch down for a few seconds and they just start losing models extremely quickly. That said, we are going to keep them in this army for flavor, but food for thought. Anyway, we got a little bit of money our way, and I think we're going to take any money we can, even though we are about to sack the place. More money is more... I clicked money, right? I hope I clicked money. And will we still be able to sack the massive Orcal? It looks like we definitely will. Alright, auto-resolve that, and we're going to sack it. And Pigeon Plucker Pendant and a Scarecrow Banner sack the place. We don't really care what happens to it, whether we take it or whether one of our allies do, and we cannot occupy it in the same turn, but we can move to an allied territory, which will allow us to heal to full HP anyway. Absolutely fantastic. Can Durthu claim this? Maybe, depending on whether this is lying or not. So I guess if he claims it, then he claims it up to 89k. Very nice. I suspect that by the time we're done all the battles this episode, we'll be up to 100k, which is once again going to be very much needed as we upgrade a bunch of crazy expensive stuff everywhere we can and continue preparing for the endgame scenario. Now that said, we're going to have to do that continuation next time, as we are once more out of time, though Tic-Tac is no slouch in establishing his dominance. We shall see who else can establish their dominance next episode as well. Mazda Mundi is able to attack and take Pahwaks if we want to sacrifice it for the Monument of the Moon, or perhaps he could try to go for Kakaukin by setting up an ambush in the jungle. There is a decent argument to be made for both, as Pahwaks may remain undefended even if we destroy this army, so I'm definitely going to have to give that one some thought. And Lustria is pretty much ours. We just have to have one more cinematic battle against Rakarth and the well, not Rakarth himself, but his faction, and the the faction will be gone for good, and we'll be able to send our armies where they need to go. Lots of stuff claimed, lots of battles to come still, but the endgame scenario approaches and they need to be taken out as quickly as we can. Anyway, more Kroq-Gar / lizards to come, so stay tuned for it. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.